Welcome back to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really pleased to have with me for the second time Darrell MacMullin. He's the CEO of Goldmoney. Darrell has driven successful new payment and commercial innovations for the past 15 years, using the launch and leadership of PayPal during its first, he was a leader of PayPal during the first 8 years in Canada, and he's worked closely both as an advisor and investor with entrepreneurs, developers, and industry partners to accelerate the growth of new fintech payments and commerce experiences as well. And so given that kind of background, it's not difficult to see why Darrell was the perfect CEO for Goldmoney, because Goldmoney is utilizing the latest internet technologies to allow people to once again use gold as money. Well, thanks for joining me again, Darrell.
Yeah, Jay, it's great to talk to you again.
You know, while I'm interested in Goldmoney as an investor today, I think it's an interesting investment story too, but we want to really try to help our listeners understand how they can use your service to actually use gold as money again. And in essence, benefiting from the use of gold, our listeners understand, many of them at least understand that gold holds its value, whereas paper money, currency, fiat money does not. Now, so I really want to get into the nitty-gritty of how to use your service so people can start using it, listeners to this show and my subscribers as well. Well, I have a prepaid gold money MasterCard. It looks just like any other MasterCard, essentially. It's a prepaid card. I've used it a little bit. I've had some difficulty using it, primarily, I guess, because I'm not used to using prepaid cards. I always use credit cards for the most part. But when I tried to use it, I think at least once or so they asked me for my PIN, and I couldn't remember my PIN. I didn't have it on me, and I didn't remember what it was because I don't use the card that often. Do you always need to have your PIN ready when you use the Goldmoney prepaid MasterCard?
Yeah, I can certainly get into talk about how prepaid MasterCard works in general. But in terms of how Goldmoney overall it's offering, we offer a gold payments and savings network. So think of it basically, it looks and feels just like an online bank account. But allows people the ability to have a choice of being able to save in gold much more effectively than ever in the past. So if you think of how you'd buy gold before, if you're buying physical gold, you always have to deal with challenges of either delivery of gold, storage of gold, and there was always a lot of friction in terms of maintaining it, regardless of it being a fantastic store of value. Here, you're able to instantly purchased gold using your credit card, using your bank account. We're connected to the ACH network throughout the U.S., so you can instantly move any money from your bank account or credit card in U.S. dollars and start building a savings account, if you will, in a domiciled in gold. Mm-hmm. Some people do one-time purchases when they feel like they want to be able to buy some gold. Other people set it up as like a reoccurring savings. I think that's been kind of the most common thing we've started seeing. People just kind of set it and forget it, where they want to put in like either $50 a week or $100 a week or $200 a month. They choose whatever their flexibility is, and they just start building a gold position that way. When you're buying gold on the platform, it's fully reserved, fully backed. It's not sort of like a paper or a promise or anything like that. Gold you're buying directly that's stored within a vault within Brinks. You've got 7 locations of vaults, so you may want to maintain or hold your gold around the world. It's free to store. It's fully insured, and of course, there's no delivery costs because you're actually buying directly from the vault. So once you have the gold there sitting in the vault, so we've completely modernized the way for someone to be able to get access to gold, and very, very cost effectively. But the way the technology platform works is it's not about just being able to buy the gold, it's actually being able to start using the gold as money. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so there are a variety of ways of being able to do that. So you mentioned the notion of having a prepaid card. So we do have a Goldmoney MasterCard prepaid card. So think of it kind of like as a debit card, if you will. So you've got your gold balance in your Goldmoney account. And if you want to be able to spend that at any time, you can spend that wherever MasterCard is accepted. Now, I know in the U.S., you are slowly migrating over to this chip and pin technology or EMV type technology for cards.
Right.
this is a technology that's been around for many, many years throughout Europe, throughout Canada, and other parts of the world where they're migrating to that. So there is the the notion of being able to have a PIN that's considered a lot more secure than having, say, using a signature on your card. Mm-hmm. And so it is kind of to the new compliance standards. Any new card that's issued in the U.S. is a chip and PIN type of card, and that's mm-hmm. sort of the cards that we use as well.
All right, so we need to memorize our PIN number, in other words. It's not a difficult thing. It's just that I'm not used to using it, and I need to start doing that if I'm going to use the prepaid card.
Yeah, so exactly. So and you can use the card online as well. A lot of people use it online. You can also get the card in different currencies. So if you think of, say if you're going to travel to Europe or to the UK, you can get a card domiciled in different currencies. And instead of, having to worry about the currency conversion going between the US and the euro or having to hold on to euro cash, you can have a Goldmoney card when you're in Europe. You can just use your MasterCard there and you instantly just liquefy your gold for euros. You can go up to an ATM and pull out euros cash if you felt like you needed that. But you're minimizing your exposure to kind of currency volatility, currency conversion, and of course you're maintaining your savings in a much better store of value in gold.
Mm-hmm. So let's say I want to use my prepaid gold MasterCard. I go to I think is it my personal vault? I think is the way it looks. When I go online, I see that I have a certain number of grams in my vault. Yep. Then at that point in time, if I have to sell that gold essentially and load my MasterCard with the proceeds of the sale of that gold in dollars, whatever currency that I choose to use, right?
Yeah. So the way to think of it is. To set up a Goldmoney account is free. You can log onto your account online, and you have your different vault balances. We show you your balance in the weight of gold, in grams of gold, and then we also show you the currency equivalent value of that in real time. So, for instance, in your case, if you want to see how much gold you have in US dollars, it would display the US dollar amount and the actual weight of gold. So you understand kind of your purchasing power. Now, if you think of just why would anyone want to have a savings account to begin with in gold? Well, if I look at just this year alone, here we are in November, so the year is coming closer to an end. But if I look at how gold is performed from a purchasing power standpoint against every major fiat currency around the world, every currency has lost value this year around the world. Against the U.S. dollar as of today, gold is up 22.9%. So if you think about that, there's an astonishing number. I don't know any bank accounts that are giving me 22% interest right now on my US cash. So, as an individual, whether an individual or a business, right? Because we'll get into kind of the business application of this as well. If I'm looking to store and protect my wealth, whether it be for the short term or the long term, if I have the choice now of being able to have some money in US dollars and some money in gold, and the way I do it myself is, I keep some money in local cash and some money in gold. When gold rises and gold goes up against my currency, I spend my gold because my purchasing power is higher. If my dollar goes up, then I spend my local dollar. So I at least I have a choice now. Always when I'm living and looking at any sort of application of being able to spend my money, I always look at that point in time, what's the best use of my my wealth. And so as a savings account, that's certainly a beneficial way for anyone to be able to kind of preserve their wealth. As a business as well, think of any sort of either an online business or an offline business. If you are receiving daily sales, whether you're just a domestic business or an international business, you're receiving US dollars. What do you typically do with it? You have whatever payment system you use, you settle those funds to your bank account. And the money sits in your bank account at a very negligible interest rate. It's certainly much less than the rate of inflation these days. Right. So you can sit and hold in your money in US dollars, but if it's actually losing value, you're actually losing earnings. And so we're starting to see the behavior of a lot of merchants saying, hey, what if I take a certain percentage of my sales every day and just put it into gold money so I can actually protect my earnings for a kind of a longer term or future purchase. And they still have, it's instantly liquefiable. So if they ever want to move that money back to US dollars into their bank account, they can instantly. Or if they wanted to spend their gold directly using the Goldmoney card, just like an individual, they can do that as well.
Right. Well, Darrell, the expenses then, let's say I want to sell some of my gold and move it into my prepaid MasterCard, is that a 1% charge?
Yeah, so the way the platform works, we've completely simplified the process for being able to buy and sell gold. So from a pricing standpoint, you basically get within 1% of spot price at the time of purchase. So you're being able to buy gold. So we don't necessarily go out there and say we're the cheapest way to buy gold, but I would argue, by all means, feel free to look at our price compared to most other places and how they're charging for gold. And most people will find that we're probably one of the most cost-effective ways of buying gold. At the same time, whenever you want to sell your gold or redeem your gold from the platform, we give people multiple options. One, you can put it to your debit card for 1%. You can move it to your bank account for 1%, or you can also redeem for physical gold. So if you actually wanted, I just did that recently where I redeemed some of my gold for a gold coin and I gave that to my father for his birthday type of thing. So I keep a gold balance, but every once in a while I'll take on some physical as well. And then also the other benefit of the platform is not just about redeeming it back into cash, but maybe there's someone else that you actually wanted to spend money or pay someone else in gold. And one of the things we introduced recently in the United States is the ability to transfer your gold as payment to someone else. So if you think of transferring value to someone else, I can have a physical gold allocation on the Goldmoney platform, and let's just say, Jay, I wanted to send $100 to my brother-in-law in California. I can go on the platform very simply or in the mobile app and say, send $100 to my brother's email address or phone number. The physical gold doesn't actually have to move from the vault. We just instantly shift title from one person to another. And now that other person instantly owns the gold. And I think why that's really important from a payment standpoint, why that's so innovative. You know, you hear about traditional payment systems and banks and whatnot talking about the conventional payment systems, talking about faster payments and trying to get to next day payments or same day payments. The challenge with being able to have faster payments in the existing ecosystem is there's so much counterparty risk, right? There are people that IOUs on one balance sheet to another balance sheet to another balance sheet, and so many different parties involved in every transaction. Here, it's a very simplistic approach. I own gold. I want to send a certain percentage of my value of gold to someone else. That title can change hands instantly. So I can instantly do for instance, a cross-border transaction from here in Canada to my brother-in-law in California. He now owns that value of gold. He can either keep the gold balance in his Goldmoney account, or he can move it back to his bank account for 1%. So you can basically do a transaction like that, cross-border, cross-currency, however you want to describe it. To move the gold between two people is free. It's only when they want to move it off the platform into a local currency that it's a 1% within spot price.
Okay, good. You answered my question. So if I want to send my gold to someone else who has a Goldmoney account, I can do that for free. Now, Darrell, let's say that I bought gold on January 1st this year, and it's up 23%, as you just noted. Is that gain a taxable gain only when I sell the gold then, I suppose? And do you keep track, does Goldmoney keep track of that and provide that information for the IRS?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in terms of, and it varies where you are depending where you are in the world, but from the United States perspective, so whenever you are purchasing the gold to whenever you are selling the gold, whatever that point in time are between the purchase and the redemption standpoint, whatever gain that you've had on that gold, you may be subject to a capital gains tax. That everything that's done on the platform is automatically recorded for you as in a monthly statement and in an annual statement. So you don't need to sit and figure out how, what are my gains or whatever the case is. Everything is provided for you. So at the end of the year, when you're doing your taxes, either yourself or whether you're just handing it to your accountant, you can show that these are my gains from any of the assets that I've had this year.
Mm-hmm. One other thing I'd like to ask you about is security. I think you touched on it a moment ago. You mentioned title is switched from one person at Goldmoney to another at Goldmoney account holder. It's my understanding that this is one of the strong points. If I lend money to the bank, actually when I put my paycheck in the bank, I am lending money to the bank, and I'm an unsecured creditor, and the bank can legally, if they're not able to pay me back, they don't have to pay me back. If they try to. So far, we haven't had a problem. There have been bail-ins, I guess, was it Cyprus or Greece or someplace, but they're talking about bail-ins now. There's, they're not making it. So now,
long ago, but
what's that?
2008 wasn't that long ago, but yes, correct. So there is some counterparty risk. If I put $1,000 in a bank account, do they loan $10,000 out against that? I mean, that's how the banks make money. And of course, there are protections in place, things like FDIC insurance that protect you. I believe up to $200,000 or $250,000.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But I've had and heard of circumstances of someone, for instance, they're selling their house. Right. All of a sudden, you do a sale of a house, and you say $1 million you have moving into your bank account. Well, that's kind of unprotected if you think of it from that standpoint. Mm-hmm. But from a Goldmoney standpoint, absolutely. The way this structure was designed was to eliminate a lot of the counterparty risk that might be existing in the existing financial system. So, the founders of the company, Roy and Josh, when they were looking at how they could set up this network, is how do they create a fully backed, gold-backed financial institution that eliminates a lot of the risks that exist in the existing financial system that's out there. So the idea of being able to, when I am purchasing gold on the Goldmoney platform, you are instantly getting a fully piece of settled metal in your name. That's fully allocated to you and fully reserved. So we've eliminated that counterparty risk. We, as Goldmoney, do not have any access to that. It's assets under administration, if you will. They're protected by Brinks and stored and secured in Brinks vaults. Everything is audited by KPMG. But as a company, for instance, if something was to ever happen to Goldmoney, whether we were sued or insolvent or whatever the case is, we wouldn't have access to customers' money, or we just don't have the ability to lien or loan against that either. So you wholly own the asset yourself, and then you can change title of that ownership to someone else if you are looking to move that money around.
Right, so Goldmoney can't lend that gold out to someone else. It can't make a gold loan and then, sorry, we made a bad decision, we can't pay you back. It remains in our possession. So it is an asset. It is my asset. It's not it's not an asset that's been lent to someone else and therefore maybe not be repayable. So I just think that's an important thing for people to realize. If they take some of their money out of their checking accounts, it's probably much more secure. And you can also, Darrell, I think you alluded to it or mentioned that you can store your gold in various places. As a matter of fact, I believe that I have one vault in Canada and one vault in the U.S. So, but how many countries can you store your gold in, and how many currencies can you exchange your gold for?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So currently we have turned on 7 vaults around the world. We have New York, Toronto, Hong Kong, Singapore, London, Dubai, and Zurich, Switzerland. Mm-hmm. And it's very easy similar to you, I do something similar as well, where I have a certain allocation of my gold here locally in Toronto. So the vault is actually close to me if I ever wanted to go pick any of it up. So I have that as kind of like my short-term savings. Long-term savings, I keep some in Switzerland. And just for personal preference on being able to have, something in another location as well.
Sure.
So it's completely up to a customer, and that customer has a choice in where they actually want to have the gold stored. And then, sorry, what was the second part of your question?
Well, I think how many different currencies can you...
How many different currencies, yeah. So when you're purchasing gold on the platform, you can purchase from many different currencies around the world, whether you're using euros, British pounds, Australian dollars, Hong Kong dollars, Canadian dollars, US dollars. You can also instantly move money out to bank accounts in... let me see now. I believe it's 44 different currencies.
Wow. Okay.
In over 80 countries. So
wow.
We have customers now. We've got about 1.3 million users on the platform who've signed up for an account. So we've quickly become one of the fastest growing fintech companies on the planet. Close to $1.9 billion worth of assets on the platform. We're seeing, a tremendous amount of activity in terms of the cards themselves. People start with a savings account and they realize, wow, this is just an easier, faster, better way to be able to get access to gold. But then they start seeing the real benefit of the platform and being able to use it as payment. So, for instance, the cards that you mentioned earlier, that business is growing about 15% month over month in terms of number of cards issued out there. But the spend on the card is growing about 25% month over month. So as people start getting familiar and comfortable and maturing with us on the platform, they're starting to use us in more and more ways. And so we're seeing that growth from businesses. We're seeing that growth from transfers, being able to send money to friends and family overseas. For instance, Diwali was a big event a couple of weeks ago. So a lot of people from India being able to send money, and rather than sending money, they're sending gold. So there's a lot of different use cases around the world that we're seeing that people are definitely seeing the benefits of having a Goldmoney account.
All right. Well, we're just about out of time here, Darrell. Before we leave you go, people should go to Goldmoney. I guess you can just sit down behind your laptop or your desktop, or what about mobile devices? Everything you can do on a laptop, you can do on a mobile device as well?
That's absolutely, yep. So we have both on a desktop and in a mobile the ability to access a Goldmoney personal account, a Goldmoney business account, and also Goldmoney wealth accounts now as well. So they're all integrated within one platform, so people can be able to buy gold seamlessly and use all those great payments and transaction capabilities in the personal and business accounts. And the wealth accounts allows you to buy silver, platinum, palladium, hold multiple cash balances, and a variety of other options as well.
All right, so we're going to have to leave it go at that. So people should go to goldmoney.com. Go to goldmoney.com. It's a fairly simple process. Go in there and you can just do it all online, right, Darrell? And I really urge people to check this out because I think it's very, very important, especially if we're heading into another financial storm, which I think is very, very possible, if not likely. So thank you very much for being with us again, Darrell.